you ever been sitting there watching your subtitled anime and wondering what is the difference between Anata, Anta, Omae, Kimi, Temee? In this video, I'm going to explain all of those differences. If you stumbled upon this video, I am Sarah, an anime and game translator, and I made a video recently about Japanese personal pronouns, I and me, so definitely check out that video as well. But in this video, I'm going to be focusing on the you pronouns. Now, before we start, I have to note that the Japanese language does not use pronouns as much as the English language does. And actually, using the pronoun you too much can sometimes come across as rather rude unless you have a close relationship with the person to whom you are talking. So keeping that in mind, let's go through the list. So let's start with Anata. That is probably the first personal pronoun for you that you learned if you are in Japanese class. It is your generic default you. Aside from being somewhat formal and somewhat generic, it is also a little bit slightly feminine and also a little bit literary slash a narrator would use this term. You'll hear Anata used in commercials. Nikibi wo kini suru Anata. Watashi? Clean and clearを使ってみては? And Anata on its own, if you just call someone Anata, that actually means darling or dear. It's something that a Japanese housewife, traditional, will call her husband Anata. And his traditional response is, oi! Romantic, huh? Which brings us to Anta. This is the ruder, rougher, much more familiar version of Anata. It is a bit condescending as well. ちょっとあんた、私のお弁当盗んだでしょ? Next up we have Omae. A lot of people mistakenly think that Omaya is just inherently rude, but it is not actually. Omaya means if you're saying Omaya to someone, it means that that someone is of lower status than you. So frequently Omaya is actually used for children, and you're not necessarily chewing them out or being mean to them, or for pets. But yes, it can also be rude. And that brings us to Kimi. I used to think of Kimi as just like the softer if you love someone kind of you that you'll use for someone, and it is usually a you that men will use. But that's not entirely the case. Kimi is very similar to Omae in that you will use it to someone that is of lower status than you, but while Omaya does have rude undertones, Kimi has purely sweet, benign undertones. It is the you pronoun of choice for a soft, gentle teenage boy to use with his crush. I'm going to throw in an archaic version of you now with Sonata. Sonata is the kind of you pronoun that royalty would use with royalty. A more up-to-date, polite version of you is sochi or sochira. It literally means over there or that one. But if you are familiar with the asokodo set of words, you will know that the so part of those words means the person that is not the speaker. Ko is the speaker, so is you, a person that is not the speaker but is close to me. And then a would be some third party thing or something way over there. And then do is we don't know. Sochi and sochira means really you. If you want to tell someone very politely that you will visit them, you will say sochira ni ukagaimasu. I touched upon this in my I, me personal pronouns video, but jibun, temee, and onore also mean you to a certain extent. They actually mean one, as in oneself. But if I am talking about you and I use the word jibun or temee or onore, it means I'm talking about you yourself. And then if said in isolation, temee and onore are you or why you. And they are often translated as damn you or you bastard. But actually, they literally mean oneself. Oneself! And lastly, as I covered in the I, me personal pronouns video, you can also use a person's name in place of you. Now, this is extremely common, and it is not at all condescending unless you use the wrong honorific. So, honorifics rules are still intact, and what I mean by this is if you are older than I am and therefore of higher status, if I, as a you pronoun, use your name with nothing else after it, just yobiste, just your name, that's rude. If I do your name with chan after that, that's rude. I would have to default to your name plus san, or your name plus senpai, or your name plus sensei if you're some kind of expert in your field. But yes, it would be very common if I want to ask you if your name were Maria, and I wanted to ask you if you want to come to the store with me. Instead of saying, hey, do you want to come to the store with me? I'd say, hey, does Maria want to come to the store with me? And that's not at all weird. That's very, very normal Japanese. And in fact, I'd say it's a lot more common to use another person's name as a you pronoun than it is to use any of these words for you that I went over. So the moral of the story is, when in doubt, don't use you pronouns, try to use the other person's name, or try to get away with not using any pronouns at all. You can actually do that in Japanese since they speak in passive tense a lot. Check out my I, me pronouns video if you haven't already, and also check out my How I Translate Pronouns video once that one comes out. And I hope to see Maria again soon. Bye! ねえ、どうしたの, Kimi? Jamie Lannister pushed me out a window! Oh, hi! Thanks for watching that video. If you want to support me for free, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. You can also add me on the Facebook or the Twitter. Or you can head over to my Etsy shop where I have Sailor Moon, Ai no Minako, and all sorts of other amigurumi for sale. If you're feeling even more generous, I have a Patreon now. For just $1 or $2 a month, you can get special perks like your name in the credits, or a secret monthly video. Or, you could just binge watch all my videos to the end to trick the almighty algorithm into thinking that I'm popular. Do it for the kitties! Bye!